The Design Review Board of Bloomfield Township. Today is August 17th, and it's 2 o'clock. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you would take attendance, please.
Attendees so noted.
And we'll start with public comment. If there's anyone that would like to have any public comment, you're welcome to address the public up to 3 minutes. And if there's any, please come forward. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. And next item is approval of the minutes of August 3rd, 2022. You've had an opportunity to review them. Are there any changes or corrections?
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
I have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimously approved. New items, special use. First item is 299 Orange Lake Drive, Little Seedlings of Bloomfield. Wade, if you'd provide us.
Before us, we have a permit for a daycare facility at 299 Orange Lake Road. First, I want to start by saying that the Michigan laws related to zoning and planning for daycare facilities are somewhat specific as to what we can and cannot look for in terms of issuing a special use permit. So one of the things that we look for is that the daycare is not any closer than 1,500 feet to any of the following, and that is another licensed group child care home, a adult foster care small group home or large group home, a facility offering substance abuse treatment and rehabilitation services, community correction centers, and also has the appropriate fencing for the safety of the children. The property maintains consistency with the visible characteristics of the neighborhood, and the operation does not exceed 16 hours of operation in a 24-hour period, and it must meet signage requirements, and off-street parking must be provided. So as we take a review of the specific case, we will see that the conditions for the property, here is an aerial of 299, and it is in keeping with the neighborhood characteristics. There will be no exterior changes except for the addition of a fence, as the requirements state, and a picture of the house. And go back to the aerial. With regard to the parking, you can see that there are two actual separate areas of parking. Here is Orange Lake Road. You turn in and you can go to this driveway to their garage, and that's where the employees will be parking. There are 2 employees plus the owner. And then for drop-off, there is a circular drive here that will be the drop-off pickup area. The request is for 12 children. The drop-offs and pickups will be staggered, so it's not all at once. And so that addresses the parking for the site. I want to next mention the fence. Again, here's Orange Lake Drive here, the circular driveway. The applicant is seeking to put in a fence in this area here, which is the primary front yard for the property. So therefore, the Zoning Board of Appeals would have to approve a fence in the primary front yard. It is proposed at 4 feet. It is proposed as aluminum black color, so there's no issue with materials or size. It's just that it's located within a secondary front yard. Now with regard to, and here's a schematic of the fence from the fencing contractors. So with regard to the distancing, and I apologize, I know this is very hard to read, but everything in orange here highlights the 1,500 square foot radius from this property, and this does take into account all of those things that all of those other uses that I mentioned. And this property has been cross-referenced with the Township GIS map, as well as all the state licenses for these facilities. And this property at 299 Orange Lake is appropriate and does not fall within a 1,500-foot radius of any other one of the proposed uses. So with that regard, the applicant is here, and I would invite her up to the podium to add anything additional. The permit would, of course, need to be conditioned that, one, the proper state licensing is achieved through the state of Michigan, and then two, the fencing for the ZBA would need to be approved and in place with a fence permit at the end. So, Christina.
Hello, hi, I'm Christina Del Pizzo. I have been a Bloomfield Township resident for over 10 years in 2 different properties prior to 299 Orange Lake Drive. Our previous home we still currently own at 3658 Darcy, and it is a licensed home daycare. I was a teacher at Country Day. I couldn't find childcare in the area for my son, who's now 13, and I had to leave my prized teaching career because I couldn't find care. And so I took in some of my colleagues' children, hired a teacher from Conant Elementary, and we grew, and we created some opportunities for not only myself and the other teacher, but for some of the local moms. And I think we have a really good reputation in the area. I'm really proud of what we do. It has a thick thread of philanthropy. The house that is on Darcy is currently licensed. It has an aluminum fence. We care for lots of children in the neighborhood. Initially, when I first came here for this meeting on Darcy, this room was full, and people had pitchforks and torches, and we've, I'm exaggerating a little bit about that, but
Not that much. I
pretty
remember
much. But now we're the neighborhood caregivers, and I'd like to think we're pretty beloved, and one of the contingencies to that opening was that we would put in a circle drive, which was very expensive. It was about $45,000 to do it, and we did it. And so now my family has grown, and we need a larger home, but I still, have a tender heart for my child care. But we have all these families on Darcy that are really sad that we would be leaving. And so I have teachers who have been teaching at Little Seedlings on Darcy for many years, and Aman Bazi is one of them. And she is moving into the home, and she is going to be licensing the daycare under her name and going through the same licensing process that I am. And so we would like Darcy to remain in the good standing of the township so that she can apply for her license under her name in addition to my license at 299 Orange Lake. Any questions?
Is it anything else you want to present?
No, we're really, we're really proud of what we do.
Good, thank you. So we'll bring it back to the board. Questions from the board? You're welcome to stay up there if you like. We may have some questions for you.
that the surrounding neighbors were notified. They received their notification of the meeting.
There's not a public notification, other than this is a public meeting. It's
Right.
posted accordingly.
Okay.
But there's not a written notice that is sent out.
There will be for the ZBA.
For the ZBA.
That's correct, absolutely.
Okay.
But not for this meeting.
Okay. No, I do recall that meeting you referenced, and it wasn't all supportive, and I'm glad that you're doing so well on Darcy. I have no concerns. I know you've done a nice job over there, and looks like you have everything in order.
Bill, do you have questions?
I just had a question as to why you chose to put the fence in the front yard.
Yeah, so we Wade suggested the backyard. Because of the utilities and the egress access, we have a daylight basement, so it's really only underground about, 3 feet. The egress access would be on the side of the house, which would mean that parents could pull into that drive and go open the fence, do drop off and pick up on the side of the house, and the children could have access, like they would never not be fenced in, if that makes sense, from the moment they leave their mom's hand to the moment they take it back at the end of the day, which is important because Hickory Grove is as busy of a street as Losser.
Yeah, I figured it had something to do with just the safety and security.
Yeah.
But I personally used a home daycare with my one son when he was younger, and we're experiencing now, I'm a new grandma, that the difficulty of good quality daycare. So I really appreciate what you're doing, and I wish you luck and success.
Thank you.
Wade, do you know if we have had any complaints regarding the Darcy license?
There has not been in the system any
Okay.
registered.
Okay, thank you. And if this is going to, we're going to be passing this to the ZBA, so you'll need in terms of our concurrence, do we need to concur with the license, or are we just really looking at the ZBA issue?
You would, with your concurrence today, we would be able to issue a special use permit that would have those contingencies, but then I would recommend you also, in your motion, forward favorably to the ZBA so they can see that.
So this requires our administrative approval for the use,
yes.
plus we have to deal with the ZBA item.
Correct.
Okay. And Christina, have you had any discussions with the neighborhood association with regards to the upcoming variance that you're going to be asking for in terms of the fence?
So have we talked to the neighbors? Actually, we had a neighbor just stop by about a half an hour ago because she thought that we were cutting down trees. She saw on the agenda she said, "Little seedlings, are you cutting down trees?" And so, like, no, we're not. And I explained to her what we were doing, and she was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "But I think that guy's running a business out of his home." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I got to make a meeting." The properties are pretty spread apart on Orange Lake Road. The man who lives across the street, he's aware of it. He is, and he seems. I don't think he'll be here objecting. I think that we've been pretty open and honest with our neighbors.
Just part of the ZBA process will be for you to go to seek concurrence or from your neighborhood association, which also may include some of your neighbors around.
Yeah.
So that'll be part of what may happen as time goes on here. Just wanted to alert you of that. And how many children are licensed on Darcy? Is it the
So
same
we're licensed
12?
for 12. The state actually just passed a new law that you can be licensed up to 14. But one, we don't think that that's safe. Two, our parents wouldn't appreciate it because it's too high of a ratio. Three, I can't find any insurance that would cover us for 14. So that's just not something that I'm going to apply for now or in the near future.
And in terms of Wade off-street parking that needs to be required, is that something then that's looked at by the fire marshal in terms of drop-off, pick-up, parking?
So both police department and fire department have
Okay.
reviewed this, and they have had no
Right.
concerns.
Okay. Okay, so I'll look, thank you for answering the
I have
questions.
one other question. Just curious, how long have you lived in the new house? And are you occupying that house?
Yeah,
now, or
yeah.
Are you still at the Darcy
so
house?
it's kind of like, it's tricky because we want to license both houses to get like in partnership so no one has a lapse in care. So yes, we've moved in, we've filed, when we purchased the home, we filed with the township. I don't know what that paper is, but the realtor tells you, go to the township and tell them that this is your primary address. And Ms. Bazzi is currently moving into Darcy. I still hold the license for Darcy, and so we're working in partnership with the state, with the township, with both of us to make that transition smooth.
But my question was, how long have you been in the new house? The orange one house?
like 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in terms of, how are you getting a feel for the neighborhood or getting to know the neighbors at all?
Yeah.
And how new are you to the neighborhood? All right, thank you.
So just to be clear, though, the approval process is separate. So you'll need to come through separately in terms of receiving our approval than this approval.
For the fence.
For, I think, her,
Correct.
for
Darcy?
Darcy.
Darcy.
Okay, so, so she needs to go, even though it's currently I wasn't aware of that.
I would just think that you actually have a different license under her name than your name.
So the special use permit that we had, all of those, the rules that that were mentioned, since it is currently licensed, it would be just a different. I mean, she currently has a driver's license with that address on it. So we would come to the next meeting to have that done, or could we do it here, just in the spirit of making this a smooth transition for the families in care?
Because the permit is actually stated in your name.
Okay.
Your information, you'd be asking for an amendment or a revision. to
Okay.
the permit with the updated information. And so as soon as you would have that, then we could get you on the next agenda.
Okay, so we'll be back next week, or in 2 weeks?
It's 2 weeks. I mean, and it's up to you. I mean, I just wanted to say that so that you were clear. If you want to do this in tandem, we could table this for 2 weeks. You could then come before, we could do both of them. We could deal with one now when it comes back, so however you'd like to.
I suppose I would like to get moving on the Orange Lake one, and then I will, I guess we'll apply. We'll be back in 2 weeks for Aman's name to be put on the other special use permit. Do you anticipate any issues with that name change, just out of curiosity?
I think it's subject to the same approval, so they're going to go through and look at it kind of quote unquote as if it's new, but it sounds, a new application.
Okay.
But given, I think, everything that you've been doing and how you've modified it, seems like it should,
Okay.
come back to us pretty quickly. But it does need, I guess, to go through back to the administrative approvals, police, fire.
So I have to write another check.
Unfortunately, I guess if that's what you're asking. That
Gotcha.
may be true.
Would there also be a need to, for the relicensing through the state? Because
Oh,
it's a different
absolutely.
person? That's
Nope,
what I thought.
And
Yeah.
that is, this document is a paramount piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
So we cannot go forward with licensing, the relicensing Darcy without this piece of paper.
Right, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I thought. And I don't think there's no prohibition from her having 2 licenses.
There is. I cannot have 2 home care licenses. Yes.
Oh, so I guess it's back to my question then on that basis. If you, I guess, well, you can do it at your,
Yeah, no, I mean, I would prefer to get the wheels
That's fine.
in motion for Orange Lake,
Okay.
but we will return.
Okay.
We will return
okay.
2 weeks. Remember us.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve as presented, subject to, of course, state licensing approval and contingent on ZBA approval of front yard fencing and administrative approval or administrative decision on the presentation, on the application.
Support.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, special events, 3325 Franklin Road, Johnson Nature Center, forced to table event. Wade.
We have a special event application from the Johnson Nature Center for a fundraiser on September 10th, 2022, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Fundraiser is organized by the Friends of Johnson Nature Center, where they will have music, food and drink samplings, and just general strolling through the Nature Center. There are going to be 37 6-foot tables and cocktail tables as well throughout the property on the trails, but not in the parking lot. They anticipate 100 to 150 attendees, and the parking will be strictly valet to make sure that their only parking will be their on-site parking that exists today. And the various township departments have reviewed, and they do have a liquor license for the evening in place through the clerk's office. And they have even gone and spoken with the Hickory Ridge Village Association as well as the Bloomfield Chase Board to let them know of the event. And they are, both HOAs are favorable and have no concerns with the event. Erin Watson is here if she has any other additional comments. There are no tents planned, so there will be no need for building permits in this case. And turn over to Erin.
Thank you.
Hi, Erin, welcome.
Nice. Good evening or good afternoon. Good to see you again.
Twice.
I do need to make a correction to that. So when we filed this special events permit, it was before a lot of these details were kind of coming to fruition. This is a first-time event for us. We're really excited to be able to benefit the Johnson Nature Center. We've been working really closely with school administration and staff there on site to just make this event what it needs to be for our community. To engage people in some ecological conservation and kind of get people to understand what's going on out there in our natural world. So one of the things that you mentioned was the tent. So currently there's a tent already established at the Nature Center that is put up by the schools. That's going to stay in place. I believe that's a 20 by 20. We do also have a bid for a tent that's a 20 by 30 that would be coming from Bloomfield rentals. So if we need to make an amendment and file some additional paperwork, we can certainly do that ASAP. Our guest estimate is going to be, we have 150 capacity for ticketed guests, so it's going to be on the bigger side of that. We also anticipate about 40 volunteers, staff members on site as well during the event. Our parking situation, we spoke with valet. They said they could accommodate up to 200 guests easy, so we're well within that guidelines from them. It's going to be catered by Sylvan Table. I almost missed the most important part. So it will be strolling stations throughout a designated trail, quarter-mile loop to do tastings. It's a 6-course meal, actually, with wine pairings and cocktail pairings with that, with invasives in it. We invite you all to attend. It'll be lovely.
So I will bring up the site plan that was provided. We'll need to update this site plan for the location of the tents, and then of course that size of tent will require building permits. So I would maybe after the meeting stop down at the building division and see what documents you'll need and get those permits.
Okay. They will both, the plan is for them to be situated between the building and the lake. So there's a big grassy space there, and that's kind of like our rain contingency plan too, because this is happening whether it rains or not, and it won't.
It'll be great weather.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So can we approve the subject to the building permit for the tent? First of all, I think it's a great idea and a great way of really introducing and reintroducing people to the Nature Center, which is such a great facility and offers so much to the community, and also a great way of raising money. So congratulations to
Thank
you and the
you.
team.
It's a gem that more people need to
Absolutely.
experience. And
I would be there, but I have a wedding to attend that evening. But it's
Next
great.
year.
Yes. I probably have one then too. But
Questions, Bill?
No, not really. We were just talking about some of the events coming up at the farmhouse and the farm yesterday with Preservation Bloomfield, and just like this, it seems like a wonderful event, and I wish you great success. I'm not sure if I can attend that evening or not, but I'm going to check it out if I can.
Motion?
Make a motion to approve as presented, subject to just the building permit for the 20 by 30 tent
And 20 by 20.
and 20 by 20.
Support.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
The next item are signs, 7480 Bingham Road, Glens of Bloomfield.
So we have Stephanie with us this afternoon. At the Design Review Board meeting of about a month ago, the approval for the temporary sign was given for a 30-day time frame, and we are 2 days short of that 30 days, I believe. So we brought Stephanie back in to give us an update and talk a little bit about timing and how long it might take to manufacture the permanent sign and so forth. So questions for myself or Stephanie?
Well, I guess first of all, the last time, these are, my understanding was that you're going to be providing us the most current plan, including landscaping, for the really 4 areas of signage. The one that's on the wall, the 2 smaller ones that designate the office, and the front sign. Is what we have in the package what you're planning, or is this, I'm not sure.
Sure. Yeah, so the telegraph sign at Telegraph and 14, that one is still in the plans. What has changed is we were going to update the landscaping on the back end because it's a one-sided sign to reflect some more purposeful, larger shrubbery. And then in conjunction with that, we were going to discuss signage at 14 and Deep Run, that photo here. And then on the corner of Bingham and 14, this one here. And then a 4th sign at the front entrance where there's the existing farmhouse arm sign there. So the sign, the first sign, which is depicted in the design proposal, that is what has been approved by ownership and hopefully will be approved by you all. The new updates would be at 14 and Deep Run. We'll be proposing a smaller version of that sign to run perpendicular to 14 Mile, just behind where the street sign is there. So it'll be a double-sided, uplit, new landscaping sign there.
So are you going to be presenting that to us?
I'm asking
or-
for an additional extension to
Okay.
have our sign designer take their time to formulate the mock-ups for this and the other 3 signs.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to, how much time do you think you need?
He should have everything together within a week, so well before the next planned meeting.
Okay.
I would like to add, I did ask on time frame for fabrication of the sign that is, has already been mocked up, so it's a 8-week fabrication for that. So once it's approved here, there's a deposit required, and then 8 weeks from that receipt would be fabrication and install for that telegraph sign.
Okay. Comments, questions?
Maybe just a discussion here as far as, can we go back to the main sign that's being presented, which is certainly a major improvement over the one that's currently there, but I have some concerns about the color of the brick or stone, which is inconsistent with the building and the wall, rather large wall along Telegraph. Just some thoughts about maybe having something that's more of a reclaimed kind of look or similar to the wall.
I guess I would think it's consistent and it matches. Val, do you have any thoughts on it? Is this, it's hard to see in terms of the colors. Is that to match the existing brick?
So the existing
in there.
brick wall, it doesn't run all the way to 14. It stops,
Yeah, but it's pretty, I mean, as you're driving along, and you look at the buildings, that's
Yeah.
really, everything matches.
It seems that it's a more reddish-brown brick, whereas the new proposed sign does seem much darker. Is that just how it looks in the photos?
no, it is an updated kind of stucco stone look with the new sign. We felt it blended nicely with the Bloomfield Township sign that's in the island banquette on Telegraph. But if you go back to just below there, this sign stops well before 14 Mile, where the sign would be on the corner there. So it's not directly, well, yes, there's a lot of brick there and it's substantial. It's not directly next to where the sign would be. There's heavy tree line that would be right up where the sign would be.
I guess my only comment is visually, you're driving along there, you're seeing the buildings, you're seeing the wall.
Yeah.
That wall is, I don't know, hundreds of feet long. So that's clearly the sense, and as you're pulling around, it seems to me that it would make sense to, we usually do like to see the same material utilized.
It has a whole different look to it. The style and the color.
I guess I don't have, she's seeking a variance or tabling this for 2 weeks.
Extension, yeah.
An extension. You've heard our comments.
Yeah.
If we'd like to extend that for 2 weeks and then they can come back and present. I would like to see a landscape presentation with it, though.
Sure, yeah. We had an initial front side landscape depiction that we submitted with this sign, and the new landscape would be the reverse side.
So if you could just provide a complete set when you come
Absolutely,
back.
yeah.
And also for the other signs, if there's landscaping with that, so that it's detailed.
Sure.
And also the same with the lighting, and that we will be able to review it in full.
Yeah, I think the landscaping could add a lot, like if you had something backdrop behind it. I'm not sure what you were thinking, but it may give it a very different feel.
I don't think I do. No, I don't.
Can I hear a motion?
Yes, make a motion to extend their application and their plan for 2 more weeks till the next meeting.
Support?
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Okay. Next item is general business. Any recent approvals that need to be discussed?
No.
Okay. Next meeting is Wednesday, September 7th, 2022 at 2 p.m. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion, meeting adjourned.